accidentally poured myself the strongest mug of whiskey I've poured myself in a while. Poured myself. Did I say poured myself? At least I'm not running for governor of North Carolina. Hey, everybody. Welcome to new episode of The Blathering. I think it's episode 107. I only count the numbers for me, my craziness, but also for Apple and Spotify. If you don't put the numbers down on the podcast, it's hard for people to find them later on. I learned this the hard way with Force Center. So whatever this number is, I'm happy if you're a podcast listener. I owe an apology to the podcast listeners. I had on my calendar this week to do a knapsack file, which is the audio-only show I'm putting together, harkening back to another time when audio-only podcasts could actually get you some sort of career. I had it on my calendar, and things kind of went awry this week. Not in bad ways. Not in bad ways. Big Lou's here. I'd vote for you. That's important. It's important because we are worried about Big Lou, Alex and Molly Damon. We're worried about anyone out there in the path or even the path adjacent to Hurricane Helene. I know how they get the names. I know they're alphabetical. Sometimes I don't know. Helene? I don't know if that's the one. And I was texting Big Lou earlier in the week of Big Lou's Clubhouse. Are you following Big Lou's Clubhouse on YouTube? You should be. You should be. I was texting Big Lou. Are you going to be okay? I know he's in Jacksonville. I know where the path is. And he was like, yeah, it is what it is type of thing. And I realized about 3 weeks ago, there was an earthquake. Like we always have out here. There was an earthquake, and Big Lou texted me, "Oh my God, are you okay?" I was like, "Lou, I didn't even stop eating my frozen burrito when that earthquake. It did. If it's not a 5, I'm not paying attention. Now it goes fast. If it's a 6, we got a problem. 7, problem. 8, might not be here. But a 5, nothing. And Big Lou said, yeah." He's not worried till it gets it's a Cat 4. It's worse, but he's not in that path. But prayers up for anyone out there. Will McLean says, I'm in path adjacent in northeastern South Carolina. Looks like there's some rain here, maybe a chance for tornadoes. Big Lou says, that's how we are. Unless it's a Cat 3, I don't even bring my trash cans. Don't even bring in the trash cans. But prayers up for the people there. Though I got to tell you, I'm a little cantankerous tonight. Prayers up. I do believe in God, but I don't believe in the churches that often fight climate change, who will deny that this is part of a larger problem. This is a record-breaking storm. The fact that this keeps happening. Prayers up, but don't believe the science about it. Yeah, I'm in one of those moods this week. Speaking of those moods, let's just get out of the way. Eric Adams needs to resign. There, I settled it for all of you boomer Republicans who are going to tell me, but one of yours? Yeah. He has a D by his name. There's some theories he's a Republican plant. I don't believe that, but he's got to go. Dirty cop. Got to go. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. That's my thought. It's quite a week. We got Israel and Lebanon about to start a much more wider problem. Israel's still striking, even though the rest of the world's like, 21-day ceasefire? Maybe we think about this a little bit. Maybe think about this. It's one of those things there. I'm getting texts. I'm leaving tomorrow. Big Lou, that's the mayor of New York, right? That's the mayor of New York City. Ken Plume, I call Ken Plume, he's Helene adjacent. There's too much soil saturation area to even deal with more wind. Wind is the least of the Carolinas' problems. See? Look at that. 8984M summarizes Eric Adams as straight up a Batman storyline. It is. A 69 magnitude is one of the Alan Smithy's here. I've met Alan in person. We have similar beards. His is more dignified than mine. 69 magnitude is one side of the ground flips over on the other side. I'll allow it. Here tonight. Normally I like to start the show with 3 things on my mind, but that's kind of the things on my mind. The hurricane, I'm tracking it. I mean, I'm concerned about some folks. I'm concerned about just people in general, whether I know them or not. It's not a good thing. Cat 4, when they're saying it has unsurvivable potential if it reaches certain limits, and it's one of those things. It's the old Simpsons episode. It's the old Simpsons episode with the meteorites coming to Earth. But by the time it hits Earth, it's the size of a chihuahua. Not even the chihuahua dwarfs it. I love that episode. Important episode. But you don't know. You don't know. Ken Plume says Eric Adams' indictment is just some clever buzz marketing for the Max Penguin series. I'm there for that. I'm there for that. My beard appreciates you as well, Alan Smithy. Yeah, and Addie says, but it's fine. Climate change isn't happening. Please include sarcasm. Yeah. And it's not just the existence of it, right? There's always going to be tropical storms and hurricanes and horrible things. And a lot of times they're breaking records that were established a long time ago. But also a lot of these records that are being broken are recent records, like with the heat records. When we're setting the hottest day ever, it used to be like, that's the hottest day on record since 1836. Now it's like the hottest day on record since last Tuesday. That's when we have concern. Laserbolt, this is all his fault. Laserbolt says in the chat, if you're watching on Twitch, leave a comment here as well. This is on YouTube. Laserbolt says, just got back from 2 weeks of camping and the world's gone to the birds. Laserbolt, I'd almost like you to call it. I do want to talk to someone who goes camping for 2 weeks. That isn't a judgment. That isn't anything other than I have questions about what actual enjoyment you can find there, other than the nature and maybe some isolation. That I get. I don't have a problem with those things. And this is a what works for you is not going to work for me, and what works for me is not going to work for you situation. If I can't retire to that hotel room, preferably a suite at the end of a night in the wilderness, I don't know why we're there. But 2 weeks, that is mountain man stuff, Laserbolt. I like what you're doing. I like that. The birds are trying to return it here. Jessica says, my friend moved to Tampa Bay back in 2020. He's gone through one major hurricane a year. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be out there. But then again, not even making fun. But like Big Lou and I were texting this week. Like, I wouldn't want to deal with a hurricane, and definitely not on a regular basis. But then Big Lou's probably like, I'm okay with the earth just randomly shaking, potentially to a devastating degree. I am okay with that, but we got. Okay, Laserbolt's clarifying already, and I'm already on board. I'm already more on board. I just got an RV. I wanted to camp somewhere close to home before I take a road trip this winter. This is what I like. I could do that. I could do that for maybe a week. I don't know, 2 weeks in an RV, but I could definitely do 2 weeks or a weekend. How about a weekend in an RV? My grandma used to have one. I did a road trip with my late grandma and grandpa. We went to Reno. I remember we went to Reno, a little Tahoe action, and in the back of an RV. Hurricanes from the south and the Arctic vortex from the north. Things are changing. Yeah, there you go. No 3 things tonight. We might just dive in some calls. If you got a call and you want to call in, you have a call, you have an idea. I've been writing all day. You can tell when I've been buried in a laptop writing, and then I get on camera, get on here live. I am confused as to what I want to do. I'm confused as what I want to do. I guess I'm going to be leaving up the hurricane landfall tonight. All right, how about I switch back to a bigger camera, just so you all can see my face again. We got some calls lined up. If you got a call, if you got an idea for a call, you become a YouTube channel member here, or you go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Ken Knapsack, and there I put up a link. You get in there once the show goes live. Wait till the show goes live before you pop in, and I want to take your calls. But have a call, be ready to go, ready to shoot from a hip, this is like a radio show. It's not a podcast. We're not hanging out. Boom, shoot from the hip. I'll take your calls. I'll take your questions on anything. We got old favorite checking in there. We got Christy McGee waving at us. It'd be great if Christy McGee would call in. Known witch, Christy McGee. It's been a while. McGee is someone who I think would go camping. I think she does go camping. Don't know what she does in those woods. Don't need to know. But I think, I don't know. Now the debate is, do you pull the RV? Is that camping? It's not glamping. Or do you have to sleep on ground to count as camping? Okay. Let's get in there. Brian Tiller says, did the whole 3-week tent trailer. See, nah. Tent trailer, man. I'm not there yet. McGee says I'm a tent camper. I knew that. I felt it in my soul. Felt it in my soul. I did want to highlight some things like we did last week. Take care of some business here. And by the way, the title of the episode is Spooky Season and It's Candy. The reason I did, I'll explain that in a second. Want to highlight our buddy Adam Knight and his book, Cowboy Ending, book 1 of the Overdrive series. You can get the whole series available on Amazon. I love his ad here. Sick of vampires and zombies in your urban fantasy? Sounds like a Dan Aykroyd warning. So Dan would probably like that. BJL modern nightclub bouncer, battling street gangs, corrupt officials, and body image and crippling debt while learning to live life in overdrive. Adam is a friend of the show. One of the first guests on the Blathering Conversations. I think he was the first guest. Great episode. Check it out. Author as well. Got a haircut this week. There's nothing better than the confidence of a new haircut and a beard trim. Sadly, it's because I have to head on out to a memorial this weekend. But next weekend, I do have to go to a wedding. I have 2 weddings in October. And I haven't been to a wedding since last Halloween. Went to a wedding last Halloween. It was a good wedding. Good wedding. Didn't know what to think of a wedding on Halloween, but went, had a good time. Now I got 2 weddings here in October, and I'm ready to turn up the dance floor. Okay, Laser Bolt's winning me over. I'd go to Burning Man with Laser Bolt. I have Starlink for internet, so my evenings are much like they are normally. During the day is when the adventures happen. I'm okay with that. Ken Plum says the masochism camp will forever baffle me. I'm too comfortable. I need to shit in the woods more. Yeah, I think about that often. That's why you got to use the Hilton Plumbing. You got to use the Hilton Plumbing. All right, let's get to the calls. I don't know where you're going to take the calls. Have a question. Have a thought. Let's chat. Let's do it. It could be sports. It could be science. It could be food. It could be anything. And I was going to explain why I made this episode Spooky Season and It's Candy. Spooky Season is here. Something we celebrate in the house. Grace puts it out a lot. Big Spooky Season fan. But I do I've got on my other screen over there, I got an update. CNN just like, Hurricane Helene explodes to Category 4. It's drama over there. But every year we get into the candy debate, and every year we have the candy corn debate. We're not going to have it this year. In fact, I am looking, our friend Jared the Dark Jedi posted, I got to reach out through Alden. He posted a candy corn IPA or something. I'm going to get that, and that is my goal, to drink that here on a stream in October. No, we don't need super chats to make it happen. If you got a super chat, we can always make it happen. Appreciate those super chats. If you got a super thanks, appreciate those as well. But we don't need that. I'm just going to drink it. We got John at the Passes live here. This is great to see John here. If you're a sports card fan or just a fan of good channels, good wholesome family entertainment, follow John at the Past is Alive. I recently passed 1,000 subs over there on Sports Card ASMR, and John is a large reason for that. He spread the word of my channel to his wonderful listener base and has been consistent and sent me some cards that help me create internet content. All right. First call coming in is Jared the TIE Pilot. I can always trust a TIE Pilot to come on in hot and heavy with a question. Jared, how are you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Ken. How are you doing on this fine rainy day?
Well, it's getting hotter. It's not over here. It's not rainy here. But we had a little bit of cold weather for the show. We had some fog. We had some dark, overcast skies for about a week. I enjoyed it. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We got that good old New England weather. If you don't like it, wait 5 minutes. It's going to change.
I like that. I can dig that. I can dig that. What's on your mind tonight?
First off, boo candy corn. But sorry,
okay.
I
know. Look, if you're up for the discussion, and I want to get to your question, what's the gut reaction to candy corn? Too waxy? Don't like the taste, the feel, or is it just the lore that gets you?
It's the taste and texture. As a Tism boy, just oof, get it away. Get it away.
Okay, that's
No,
fair.
the lore of candy core is fascinating as hell.
Okay. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna have more. If you're gonna have less, it's gonna be
You can
good.
have all mine.
Deal. 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 What is on your mind?
Just oh shit, I don't even know. I blinked out for a second there.
You had something. I cut you off. That was the problem.
Think
I
I lost
switched
the
to candy
stream.
corn.
Hello? Am I
Yep.
still there? Oh,
You're
all
there.
right,
You're
back.
there.
Okay. Internet's
Yep.
screwing with me.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing okay. My big thing lately, actually, here we go. I got it. Small rant. I'm a mail carrier. You're a government man working, for the government to
Okay.
help you. As a
Yeah.
mailman, help us out.
Yes.
Empty your fucking mailboxes. It is a simple thing, people. Then you get mad at me when I take all the crumpled up crap out of your box back to the office and leave you a note saying no more mail till you come pick it up.
Mm,
Not my fault. You people are
mm.
lazy. And rant.
Okay, this is amazing, and I love hearing your perspective on it. I am all on board for this. I'm all on board for getting the mail. Back in the day, back as late as like 1998, before I moved to LA, one of my favorite things was to go down and check the mail because kids back in the day, that's how the outside world contacted you. Mail. That's changed. I have to admit, Jared, I have become bad at this over the years because I forget that mail is a thing, but it's important because I've got something very important coming in my mailbox in the next couple of days. If I don't get it, I can't see. My contacts are coming. So I need the mail carriers of the world to like me. But I noticed that I've become bad, and on like the third day, that's when you just get things just stuffed into
Yep.
they're hanging out, and I don't
Oh,
blame them. I blame myself.
no, it's literally just not to pull the current back too much, but we ain't got time to deal with it, and we're not paid to deal with it. It's get it
Yes.
delivered, and I've
Yeah.
got 700 more houses to go see. If
Hmm.
you ain't got the time, I ain't got the rhyme.
I love this. Okay. Is your current route suburban? Is it
City,
it's a
very,
city route.
yep, city route.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I do.
Uh,
I walk about 12 miles a day.
God bless it. You're probably wonderful shape, man. Do you, do you eat on are you allowed to eat in the truck or on the walk?
Oh
I've always
yeah.
been
Oh
curious
yeah.
about this.
Oh, I've got 3 bags I bring with me every day. Got all my weather gear. I've got a big ass cooler thing with
I
all
love
sorts
big
of
ass
snacks.
coolers. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because luckily where I am too, I don't have one of those old 1980 mail trucks, which the whole fleet is finally getting rid of. We're actually like
Right.
modernizing ish. I've
Love that.
got a nice little minivan size thing, so room to
Yeah.
stretch
Okay.
out. Yep. Oh yeah.
I love that. I love that. I was still working public safety when LAPD was one of the first agencies in the nation to leave the Crown Vics and go to the SUV, and it was quite a thing. It was history, much like when they had left some of the earlier cars to go to the Crown Vics. I
Mm,
remember. So the fact that the mail trucks are starting to change, I'm seeing it.
yep.
It's
I know.
it's kind of weird.
You know what the great thing is? The new ones. You know what they have? They
What's that?
invented this thing, Ken. It's great. It's called air conditioning. It's
That's right.
bloody incredible.
That's right. That's right. My friend, my late friend, rest in peace, Kevin. His mother was a mail carrier for a long time in my hometown, Grover Beach, California, and she used to complain about that. But
Oh yeah.
but they would give you the little fans, which that's nothing. That's nothing.
It blew the hot air.
Uh,
To JMB in the
mhm.
chat, I see him right now.
Yeah.
Yes, we are better than Amazon drivers in that we actually have a union that is
Yes.
really strong, and our pension is ridiculous. I
Yeah.
literally have to work 30 years, and I will make more money than most people when I retire.
Here's well, I you know what's funny? I almost left security in the mid 2000s to maybe become a mail carrier, but it's not easy to get in. It's one of the things where like I'll just apply. You don't get it. It's like trying to I'll be a flight attendant. Like there's more people kicked out of flight attendant school than become flight attendants. So I'm glad to hear that. I think you deserve it. It's
Yeah.
hard work, and it's one of
Oh
those
yeah.
things too where it is a service industry that is often either one overlooked or taken for granted, like me, not on unstuffing my mailboxes until it goes wrong, and then the mail person's your enemy, and you treat them as
Yep.
such.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm sure you go through the rounds.
Oh yeah. And but don't get me wrong. I wouldn't do it if there weren't plenty of very sweet old ladies who greet me every day,
Do
who
you
try to.
have?
Oh, oh, I've got regulars
Do
who.
you got the regulars? Oh, I
Oh
love
yeah,
this.
and I do a lot of businesses too. So every time I walk into these restaurants, do you need a bottle of water? Do you want some of
Oh, that's
this?
amazing.
Yep, I've got the access to all the bathrooms that the public don't. So
I
they
love this.
it
This is
is
it.
nice.
You're the ones that I'll be in a coffee shop or my comic book shop, and like the mail person walks in,
Mm,
and you could just tell this is the daily occurrence, and they love John, and they'll treat him right, and John treats
yep.
them good. Like I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well
The
deserved.
only thing that aggravates me that people get wrong when they
Hmm.
start blaming me or us for stuff is they'll tell me shit like, "That's my tax dollars at work." Sweetheart, the UPS, I mean
Oh
USPS does not take any tax dollars. We are
yeah,
completely self-funded, and
yeah.
people just don't realize that.
Yeah, so buy your stamps, kids. Buy your Forever stamps. I still have about a half a roll of Forever stamps. I hope they're still good. I have one final question for you, Jared. But on this one, I agree that I think I even talked about it on the show before. I don't like the I pay your salary mentality. It's never brought up in good faith from anyone. It's never, and I used to be in line getting lunch with my friends from the LAPD. And look, we all should have issues with LAPD and police agencies everywhere. I agree with that. But sometimes they're just normal folks looking for a lunch break that they're allowed to have legally. And I've had people get in their face, just walk up to them, say, "I'm paying your salary, you lazy fuck, get out of here, get out of the lunch." I've seen it. I've
Oh yeah,
seen it. And it's never good. It's never good.
the
Never
customer is
good.
always an asshole.
That's right. No, I agree with that. From working in a movie there. Final question comes from Trey T up there in Portland. Are you wearing those postal shorts? Thoughts on postal shorts?
All right, so I don't even know how much I should say, but do you know how much we pay for those uniforms? We get an allowance every year to get some.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
you know those nice raincoats you'd see your postman wear, the big old ones when it's pouring
Yes.
out? That's a
Yes.
$700 coat.
That's a $700 coat. Wow.
That's a $700 coat. So I won't
So,
even get into pants and normal pants and shirts, equivalently bullshit.
so what you're saying is, if I see a postal service worker in shorts, they've made the decision to purchase them.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we
Okay.
have to too. It is a requirement of the job to have the
Requirement. Yes.
uniform, but
Okay.
they don't. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
Anything in the
Yeah.
government is not cheap.
Yep. Yep. Okay. All right. I like this. All right, Jared, you changed our not changed your mind. You confirmed our thoughts. We value the postal service. Everyone, get out there, buy your stamps. Don't listen to Steve in the chat and go get Costco stamps. No, no, go get some. Go get some stamps. Get some big Forever stamps. Get a whole roll. And you know what? For God's sake, send a handwritten letter to someone you love. Do that. Do
People
that.
still do it. It's really
People
nice.
do
People
that.
they do it, and whenever I get to physically hand it to somebody, their day lights up.
I love this.
Postcards make the day for people.
Steve's devices, they are real stamps. Well, yeah, sure. But yeah. But I mean, go to your local post office, take a number. Hopefully, they're not too mad. And there you go. All right. And Jusco says it too. The Costco stamps are Forever stamps. I stand corrected. Go get yourself a hot dog and some Costco stamps. Support the United States Postal Service. Jared, thanks for the call, buddy.
All right, thank you, Ken. You be safe.
I will. I will. I can be safe because I am not in the eye of a hurricane. Monitoring this as I watch the show, only because I just, I'm concerned for friends. Like, look at this little map over here. All right, I don't want to dox them. We're not, giving anyone's addresses. But up there, Jacksonville area, that's where Big Lou is. That's where Big Lou is. And then, then it's heading kind of straight for Atlanta. That's where our friends Alex and Molly Damon are. I don't want anyone to have any problems, whether I know them or not. I don't want Tyler Perry to have any problems if he's over there in Atlanta making films. I want everyone to get out of this okay. All right? So we're monitoring that as well. We got more calls coming here. 8984M was in there. Oh, 8984M was in there, and then he ditched me. Steve, I hope Steve's going to be calling in later to see how I did with my picks. It was not a good weekend for the Miami Dolphins, and it's not going to be. Actually, I think it's going to be a better Monday night for the Miami Dolphins. We'll see about that. Right now, though, our friend Brennan's on the phone, and I'm going to get Brennan set up here once I get back to the right background there. If you want to call in, become a channel member or a Patreon supporter, Patreon.com/Ken Napzok. I will tell you after the call with Brennan, one of the kind of cool, fun perks of being a Patreon member. Brennan, my friend, how are you? What's on your mind? How can I help you?
Oh, it's sure good to hang out with you last week, Ken.
It did. It was. I saw you. You were at the zoo. We arranged. It worked with my life and your life, and I hung out in the zoo. We watched some very chunky squirrels literally beg for food, clap and beg for food.
It was very strange indeed.
Very strange indeed. Very strange indeed.
It's interesting that you were mentioning not to get into it, but the anti-climate change Christians.
I'll happily get into it.
I am not one of them.
I know, Brendan. That's why I would go to the zoo. If you were, I wouldn't go hang out at the zoo with you. To be blunt.
I've never had anyone in the sermon say that ain't real. I mean, obviously,
it's just pervasive to the organizations. But
anyways, the individual members who insist it's not real.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I think our leaders have made it clear that it is real. So
yeah, and I've seen the change because again, it's hard to ignore. Even someone like Lindsey Graham, who I disagree with on almost any level, has said this at times. Like maybe it's something we should take into consideration. By the way, new episode of Climate Town out. One of my favorite YouTube channels. Check over there with Climate Town. Raleigh put a new video up. All right, Brennan, what's your question? And then I have a follow up for you.
Well, it's really more. I mean, Halloween is actually one of my favorite times of the year.
Okay.
In fact, we have Halloween parties at my church building.
Love that.
We're not one of those, it's Satan's.
Right. In the actual,
all that stuff.
The real history is obviously far from. And my baggage. Though I have to say, I had fond memories as a kid growing up in a church. They would put on the quote Hallelujah hoedowns. We'd have a lot of fun. So I'm not going to say that was a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing, and it was an alternative to Halloween. So it was the Satanic Panic 80s, as they say. But Brennan, your church, what do you love about Halloween, man?
Well, it's so funny. You mentioned the Satanic Panic. We didn't really get into that. I mean,
good.
As always, there are going to be the individuals who are like, oh my gosh, it's
absolutely
D&D is the work of Satan. But for the most part. That was not the case.
Yeah. You could roll some nat 20s.
There's a lot of members who play D&D.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to hear. I was just, I was hanging out with a guy named Todd, an actor named and writer named Todd Stashwick, and we were at a party.
I love Todd.
We both connected. We met for the first time this weekend, and we connected over the idea of we both grew up in the Satanic Panic 80s, and he is a D&D player now. But it carried over to where even as an adult, well beyond my youthful days of the 80s, I wouldn't play it or even engage in conversations because I carried this. Oh my God, my mom and dad are going to find out. I'm 42, but they're going to find out. Well, and he finally put that aside in 2017, and now he's known for it.
You can come over to my house and play D&D.
There you go. There you go, Brennan.
It's really funny because I know that Grace also has a bit of baggage when it comes to.
That's an understatement.
But I'll tell you, if you guys ended up coming out and hanging out with us at our house, you wouldn't feel like you're worried about me.
Look, I've met your dad, sweetheart. Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a man. Obviously hung out with you. But what do you love about Halloween, Brennan?
I don't know. The movies, the parties, the candy. It's just fun. And
yeah.
And I like getting into the spooky mood of like watching, horror films or Nightmare Before Christmas or really getting into the fun of it.
Do you like getting? Yeah. Do you like getting scared? Are you one of those people who likes to get scared,
no,
Brennan?
I don't like getting scared.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. As people know.
Yeah. You will never get me to watch the Paranormal Activity movies.
Well, you know what's funny though? But you know what's funny, Brennan? As everyone knows, I don't watch a lot of horror films. I don't like being scared. I finally gave in and watched a couple of the paranormal, I can't even say it, paranormal activity movies with Grace a couple of years ago. And you know what? They were scary. They were a little scary, a little terrifying, but well done. And I enjoyed the ride. How about that? I'll say
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's weird because I don't necessarily believe in hunting ghosts.
Sure. I'm with you.
I believe in the spirits of the dead, but not like
Sure.
scary. Just more like, hey,
Right.
they're
Yeah.
on the other side and they're just there and
There's
doing
there's
their
another
thing.
side. Yeah. There's another side.
And I have to tell you that time I think I actually experienced knowing someone was there, but it wasn't scary at all. It was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's what some people say if you get used to it. Yeah, I've had an
Yeah,
old roommate that
but
had a lot of
still,
encounters. That's what he said. Yeah.
Ghost movies scare me to death.
I'm with you there. Well, I'm
But
getting.
slashers don't bother me. Those
Yeah,
kind of
slashers are. Yeah, I don't even enjoy them. They're just over the top. But that's good. I'm glad you like Halloween. But I do have, before I let you go, Brennan, I have a bit of important follow up question because we haven't been able to chat.
Oh boy.
Did you end up going to the smokehouse, and what is the verdict?
I went and it was amazing.
Love to hear it.
Great
Love
service.
to hear
I
it.
had a really nice chicken Buena Vista.
That's a good one. That's a good one. The chicken Buena Vista. Buena
Um,
Vista.
we got a picture of us in our group there, and
Oh, yeah? You paid for the
I
picture?
I liked all the movie posters on the wall, and
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
food was amazing.
It was a good time. Good atmosphere, good vibe, right?
Yeah, it was good fun. It was really good fun, and I'm glad we got to go.
Now, I know New Year's, you yourself avoid dairy, so you couldn't enjoy the garlic cheese toast. Did anyone in your party enjoy the garlic cheese toast?
They loved it.
Love it. This is what I love.
I said, Ken says you have to get the garlic bread. So let's do this.
I love this. Put another one on the wall.
No,
Put another one.
I can't eat dairy because my stomach can't handle it.
Look, you're better off for it than avoiding it. I wish I could avoid it. I run straight on into it. But
Does Grace give you an evil look when you eat dairy?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. We don't have a ton of it in the house, but when we're out and about,
she doesn't wag her finger at you and say, "Shame, Ken."
No, and it was. I'll tell you what. You bring up when she went full 100% vegan, there was never. I would have to publicly apologize. I was worried there was going to be a lot of like you're going to need to do this because I'm. No. She do what you want. Never forced me. And then I was the one who started cooking vegan meals for her at home and was like, oh, this is really good, and I feel better.
Are you a carnivore?
Yeah, I definitely backslid. I tried to move away from red meat. I don't have it a ton, but like I'm going to be in a car for 7 hours with Mark Ellis tomorrow. I am going to try to convince him to stop. Yeah, I will. I'm going to try to convince him to stop at either KFC for a chicken sandwich or a Carl's Jr. And hold on to me, Big Lou. I'm going to do a double Western bacon cheeseburger on the road.
I'll tell you something interesting though. I like meat, but I like chicken and fish.
Chicken, yeah, and
more
that's
than I like beef.
If you're gonna do beef, we're gonna do meat. Go with those ones as well. I don't love fish, so even though I grew up near the beach where fish was, some great fish meals were available.
Yep.
Well, I'm very happy, Brennan, that you enjoyed Smokehouse.
Yes.
It feels good, and it was great to see you. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the day at your zoo. You had a beautiful day at the zoo. It was a good time last week. Hope you enjoyed your LA trip.
Yeah, I did indeed.
All right, Brennan. Thank you for calling in as always, my friend.
Ken.
Happy Halloween to you, Brennan.
Yeah.
I love that. Brennan loves Halloween. Michael McCarstle's here talking about back-to-back hurricanes. Yeah, we did have one like 2 weeks ago in Louisiana. There you go. Alan Smith, who says, if it doesn't get over the place, it doesn't belong in Ken's face. Yeah. Look, it was a different time, but that Paris Hilton Carl's Jr. ad is a classic. Not for all the best reasons, but it was a classic because I think it probably raised the stock prices of Carl's Jr. And maybe people bought the ticket for the Paris Hilton eating a burger in a car, but I think it was in the end the barbecue sauce that won the day. All right, you're checking out the Blathering Live. I'm Ken Napzok. This is like an AM radio show from the past. You call in, we chat. You call in, we chat. That's kind of a reference to High Fidelity, if you can pick up on it. David McKay says, that's hot. We are hanging out here, but I got to tell you, I don't even have a graphic prepared for it. I got to get a graphic. Big Lou, make me a graphic. Big Lou's not even supposed to make me graphics. Oh, I do have this. This will work. Pop Rocket Radio still exists. That's right. It's on Mixcloud. It never left, but I stopped doing live episodes. I had had to make the tough decision that it wasn't working out after a couple years of doing the show live every Saturday night. But it is kind of back. It is back, actually, I should say. Live every Sunday night at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on Hall of Fame Music Radio in Newcastle, Pennsylvania is an hour to 2 hours, depending on my schedule, but at least an hour of pop, rock, and radio. Here's the thing. Most of you don't live in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Don't worry. We got you covered. Hall of Fame Music Radio can be heard on any of those radio streaming apps. Just search, but go to TuneIn. You don't even have to sign up. You have to listen to some ads for a little bit, but then the music plays. Go to TuneIn, go to the Radio Box app, and you can hear it. Then, if you can't listen live, don't worry, I got you covered. Go to patreon.com/catnapsock. That's right, patreon.com/catnapsock, and you will get every episode I produce there, or remain a Mixcloud Select member on Mixcloud at mixcloud.com/poprockinradio and enjoy the show. We got some great episodes coming on out there. All right? It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. All right. Christy McGee says, I've listened to so much Pennsylvania radio because of you. McGee and Old Handsaw were the ones that hung out listening to that. The shift, I still do it. I just recorded my shift last night. We got The Great Pumpkin is great. Oh, yeah. Laserbolt, I highlighted the comment here, but I want to, spooky season is about the spookums. That I get, but it's also about the sentiment. And Laserbolt says it's not Halloween until you watch It's the Great Pumpkin. One of my favorite things. I know the Peanuts gang is probably mostly remembered for their Christmas time stuff, but I think the Great Pumpkin and that whole that ending there, if I remember correctly, of Waiting for the Great Pumpkin, it's sweet stuff. It's some of the best pumpkin stuff there as well. And then Brian Jackson, Mr. McClunky, agrees, says, true, Laser, the Great Pumpkin is great for me. It's working on a new Halloween music playlist, which always includes that song by Vince Guaraldi. There you go. So there you go. I Gotta Rock. Yeah, that's one of my earliest favorite comedic beats. I Gotta Rock. Love it. All right, we got some calls to get to here. I'll be with you till about 6:30 tonight, maybe even a little earlier. I want to thank Mark Riley, who was on the show last week, if you were live. So hanging out with us, it was a great time. Thanks for those who hung out with us there. I am going to refresh weather.com first before I get to a call. I'm going to refresh. It's still a Cat 4. Okay. It's not hit landfall quite yet, right? All right. I'm checking it. I'm checking on Big Lou. Big Lou did send an update from his cousin's house. A tree fell on it, but everyone's okay. Jerry's here. We're going to forgive Jerry for being late to this conversation because I love Jerry the Cannon Junkie so much. But, Jerry, I've been a flag bearer and a flag carrier for candy corn for years. Candy corn is one of my favorite candies. It's one of my, I'll say it again, it's one of my favorite candies. I'm the sick, twisted beep who gets candy corn in May. Sometimes I get a hankering, and if I see it at a gas station or a 7-Eleven or a Ralph's, Jerry, I take that candy corn off the shelf. I purchase it because I'm here to support capitalism, and I take it. Sometimes it doesn't even make it home. And I'll try to preserve it. I'll do the thing where I take the candy corn and I eat it color by color, like, ooh, the orange bit or the white tip, the yellow middle. And then I end up just dumping the entire bag into my mouth. Oh, yeah. Kristen McGee says sometimes you get 5 pounds of candy corn in the mail. Yep, that happened one year. McGee, Old Handsaw. Jennifer Miro's here. She says, I'm that same sick fuck. I know that. I know Jennifer Miro's a sick fuck. There, I said it. Clip that out. All right. Jerry says, I'm right there with you. That's why I love you, Jerry. No, you're okay. Big Lou says the white tip was my porn name. Was Big Lou. It can still be. See, I knew Jerry. I knew that I liked you from afar. I didn't know what to make of the Bomb Bad podcast when it first showed up. I didn't know what the hell was going on over there. But you and Scotty are the type of guys that will sit in the middle of some park in New Orleans one day, New Orleans, and we'll eat some candy corn where the rest of the world judges us. All right. Laserbolt says, though, not a fan of the pumpkins. And that I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Let's go back to the calls. I'm going to get this gentleman on the phone now. He is here. He had jumped off, but he's here. He's here. My friend, your friend, 8984M, a.k.a. Brady, a.k.a. Kyrie, a.k.a. Force Center supporter, a.k.a. bus rider, a.k.a. really good dude. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you again for the introduction. You're too kind.
I'm not kind.
Me too well.
Quite frankly, if you hung out with me too much, you'd realize I'm a bit of a prick. But anyways.
I have to disagree. I hope the noise isn't too much.
No,
I'm on campus right now.
You're on campus. I'm going to say, you sound a little more distant than you normally are.
Yeah,
I was worried you were on a bus.
I was on a bus, but now I am outside.
What's on your mind today?
So I have to be real quick because I have class in 20 minutes. But
okay, that's okay.
I was wondering, is this what it's like to watch something before it comes out? Like, you watch something, you have a reaction, but you can't say anything about it.
So, say again.
Okay,
I missed you.
I should have mentioned that. Okay, so last week I wanted to say hello to Mark Riley and you. But I was going to watch a preview for the new Joker movie.
Oh.
And I can't say anything about it.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. I've been in that situation. Look, you're working at Kaleidoscreen Junkies. We go to the movie screenings. And I saw Last Jedi a full 7 days before most of the general public saw it.
Wow.
And what was weird, and going to the, and I don't love talking Star Wars here, but like going to the Last Jedi of it, I had to work through what I was thinking. I didn't immediately love everything in it, but then I came around and was like, no, I love pretty much everything in this film. But a lot of us thought, oh, this is going to kill people are going to love this. Like, it was weird. The sentiment was come Friday, everyone's going to go crazy. And look, again, pretty popular movie, made a lot of money. I know a lot of people that love it. But that was a weird thing. But yeah, I've been in those situations, where you get to, I don't know if this, I don't know if it translates right away, but I've been in a lot of situations where I've got people I know who are working on cool things. Jennifer Miro in chat, who are working on cool things, and I can't say a damn thing about it. And sometimes that's like a year or two out. And, and you just got to sit there, suck on your thumb like a baby with a secret, Kyrie. So I feel you. So you can't say anything about Joker de la Feu or whatever it is.
I guess I can make like a quick non-spoiler reaction, because I think the reviews probably came out. It's coming out a couple days after. Yeah. I'll admit the first movie I struggled with. But
Gotcha.
I only struggled with the first one. I enjoyed this one.
Okay.
I did enjoy this. I think Lady Gaga. I love anything Lady Gaga does seems to do these days.
Yeah. That that's the only thing I'm really concerned about. I didn't even see the first Joker. I'm only concerned about her performance. In fact, I pre-ordered. I think it's arriving like this weekend when I'm out of town. I pre-ordered her new album. I ordered the LP of it, special edition. So yes, I am pretty cool.
And that also hasn't come out yet. And I've heard some songs from it. Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. Who's cool now? You think you're cool? 8984M going to a screening? I got an LP on the way.
Well, you saw The Last Jedi like a week before it came out. I can't imagine.
It was it was part of the job and everything, and so most of the movies you don't really even care about. You're not going to spoil it. You do your job, but for the big ones, you have to sit on it for a few days. You have to sit on it. Well, my friend, I appreciate you checking in from school. I appreciate you keeping your secrets, and be safe on those buses. LA Metro buses had a pretty bad incident a couple days ago.
Yeah. Luckily, the line I take is pretty safe. So
yeah, okay.
Don't worry about me.
No, Good. All right. Be safe, my friend, and we'll talk, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, 8984M calling in. Laserbolt has breaking news. Breaking news. Hey, I just noticed that YouTube moved that annoying heart out of that was in the chat. The chat. Did it? God, yes. Finally. God, that was driving me crazy. Anyways, you're hanging out on Blathering Live. I'm Cat Knapsack. I'm happy to be here with all of you. If you want to call in, we have our wonderful cadre of regular callers, but absolutely love to get some new names in there. So if you're a supporter and have listened to me a long time, if you remember me slightly from things I used to in the past and you're here checking on me now, get in there, call. Become a YouTube channel member here, or you can support me on patreon.com/catnapsack. That gets you a link to StreamYard to call on in and, go ahead and say hello, have a question, have a hot take, do all those things you need. We're going to get another call here shortly, but I'm going to check on what we've been checking on the whole night. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing, Laserbolt, are you right? Because I'm seeing it. It's still in my way. Though I have it turned off. Maybe that's what's going on. Here, watch. I'll do this. Let's see if that comes across. I just put the two little bears. Oh yeah, I toggle it off. Big Lou save. Yeah, that's what I did. I toggled it off. Okay, important things. Speaking of Big Lou, we're going to check on the hurricane. We are gripped by this. It hasn't changed on weather.com. Still says landfall tonight. Landfall tonight. I even have an app. I have an app here. Speaking of apps, I got to talk about something else here that happened to me right before the show. Where is that app? It's Radar. By the way, I'm one of those weird folks. I have just like pages and pages of apps on my phone. I don't put any folders. I do not like app folders. Don't like that. So I remember where all my apps are based on when I added them. Here it is. Radar, you got to tap. You got to do the little tap. There you come on, tap it. God bless it. Sometimes it's an angle. Anyways, all right, you're not going to see that. Radar Now is the app I use to track storms and stuff. Because look at that. Come on. Oh man, this is driving me crazy. We did this. Mike Fink told us how to do it here. There it is. Oh, there. Turn down the brightness, Ken. This is Radar Now. This is the app I use, and that is I'm tracking Hurricane Helene right now live. You all could do that as well. There you go. For those listening on the podcast, you all just got to see a grown man tap his phone 15 times till he got angry. Let's take a call from Addie right now. Then we got a call from Chris lined up. Addie, you're on the show. What's on your mind? What's going on? What's your thoughts on candy corn?
Oh, I'm a candy corn junkie all the way.
Love it. I'm surrounded by good people.
I was excited to find out tonight that you can buy candy corn year round. I thought it was a fall thing. Although the chat did inform me that maybe you just buy enough of it and it doesn't go bad.
No. So what Kristen McGee had mentioned, and back in 2021 when we were doing the GPA, we would receive gifts. And Ranger Donald, God bless him, sent so many like Little Debbie snacky cakes and stuff that we almost died. We had to tell him to stop sending it. But Old Handsaw, and I think McGee, sent us like, she's not lying, 5 pounds of candy corn, including the Thanksgiving flavored stuff. And it lasted.
I am a classic candy corn person.
Yeah, I don't like messing with too much of a good thing.
No.
But that's our candy corn thoughts. 8984M says this. Is it weird to admit now that I've never had candy corn? No, you can always correct that. You can head to a gas station right now, get some candy corn, and check back in next week, Brady. Addie, what's on your mind tonight? What's your question?
So I was thinking about this a lot today. Other than The Lion King, which we have previously established, what do you feel like is your biggest blind spot when it comes to like things that pop culture will assume you have seen and you haven't.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it's a lot. I think.
Comes to mind.
First one that comes to mind is
besides the Lion King
is Gremlins.
Okay.
For a long time, it was Ghostbusters, but then I saw that. Gremlins, Top Gun, because I'm just such an 80s kid. People assume that. And then it's some of the classics. I was at this Equinox party. Sounds like I went to a gym, but this odd autumnal, what do you call it? The fall Equinox. I was at Jen Miro's fall Equinox party this weekend, and I said I hadn't watched The Godfather. Still never seen The Godfather, and that got people upset. So there's things like that. It's mostly movies, though. I will say also shows. If you go to TV shows, never seen The Sopranos, never seen Breaking Bad. That upsets a lot of people.
Mine
Grace.
is Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Because people always assume that I've seen Breaking Bad because I am a chemist. And because I am a chemist,
and a drug dealer, right? And a drug dealer. Like they're just connecting the dots too much, right? Yeah.
That's why I've never seen Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was very big when I was in grad school, and when I told people I was a chemist, their first reaction was like, "Oh, like Breaking Bad?"
Yeah. Right.
And it just left a really bad taste in my mouth because it was like, not all chemists are making meth.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah,
it's not what we do.
You know it too well. It's I can't think of an exact example, but it's like even for me, having worked in pro wrestling or been around the comedy scene or something, like there's some assumption of like, oh, you have to have seen that. So I get it, and I don't fault anyone for asking, but it's an assumption. So, Michael McCarson comes in with this hot take. Michael McCarson says, you can skip The Godfather. My flaming hot take. Yeah. A lot of people with us. Addie, not seeing Breaking Bad. Jess says not all chemists are Breaking Bad. And Jess, I just saw of your donation on PayPal, and I appreciate that as well, helping the show go. I'm trying to think, Addie, if there's anything else in terms of just pop culture. It usually comes to movies or shows, music, but music is so relative to your own tastes and heart's desires that I don't think anyone is completely shocked. I don't love Metallica. I don't love, Nirvana, I guess, but I was around for it and I've heard them and enjoy some of their things, so it's a little different. You?
Yeah, no, I mean, my music is much more limited. I've never been a radio person. I don't enjoy just listening to the radio. I was mostly raised on the oldies, so I'm very good at like the hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. All of those.
Well, I got to tell you, Addie, then there's a radio station for you called Hall of Fame Music Radio out of Newcastle, Pennsylvania, that broadcasts pop rock and radio. You might not like my pop rock and radio show, but you'll love the rest of the stuff.
But like, I've never been a modern music person. If I'm listening, honestly, I have music on my phone. I buy music. I don't even have Spotify, which my students tell me makes me an old person.
That's okay.
The buying of music on my phone makes me old, and I just want to be like, children, gather round and let me tell you about cassette tapes.
Right. Right. I've got that Harley Quinn album showing up, and it's I actually ordered physical media. It's been a first time there.
I mostly listen to Taylor Swift. It's mostly just always Taylor Swift.
That's fair. And I like Taylor. I like Tay-Tay. I'm there on that there. And Jess says, look, hey, skip Spotify. I always say I am a Spotify premium member, and I use it for my radio show, though the music quality is not as good as Apple. And I think standing up against Spotify until they pay their artists is a good thing. So, you know what, Addie? Just when people give you shit for not having Spotify, just say you're doing it for that reason.
There we go. Or I listen to like the Game of Thrones soundtrack or the Middle Earth soundtracks and whatnot. I've been doing that especially a lot because I've been writing a lot recently, and
you're a score person. Well. You're a score person. You're like Mark Riley. I love that. I love that. Jared points out Deep Space Nine. You can give me that $2 every week, Jared. I'm not watching that show. I'm not watching that show. Ken Plume points out another thing I haven't seen in its entirety. I want to point out I've seen parts of it. Jaws. I've never seen Jaws as well.
I've never seen Jaws either. I've also never seen Top Gun, and probably never will. I don't like Tom Cruise.
Okay, but it's because of Tom Cruise, not the open mouth kissing that your mom would be disappointed if you watched, right? Because that's the reason for me, still to this day.
Not anymore. Not with some of the things her and my dad have been watching. Like,
okay, I kind of don't want to know, but I kind of need to know.
No, sometimes I go home and the things they're watching on Netflix, I'm like, I am uncomfortable sitting here with you all during this sex scene. Like,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, fortunately, I don't watch a lot of things with my folks, and a couple times I've been in the movies. I think the last movie I saw in a theater with my dad was The Force Awakens, which was one of the greatest moments of my life because at the end of the movie, he turned to me and said, I think they're leaving it open to more films. Like, you nailed it, Dad. But he enjoys the big blockbusters. But in 1999, young, coming out of film school, just moved to L.A., screenwriting Ken, made my mom go see American Beauty, which I had already seen. But I had not played it out in my head. Because I was just like, oh, my mom's going to see this bag float in the air, and she's going to be moved. She's going to be moved. And then some things happened in the movie, and I was like, I did not want to be here with my mom on that. So I've learned.
Got my dad when I was 16 to take me to my first R-rated movie. We saw Troy.
Troy, okay. I can't remember. I've seen Troy on HBO in the background.
There's some decent naked men butts and one or two sex scenes.
Okay, but that's okay. If Eric Bana's run around naked, I can do that with my folks. I can do that with my folks. Brad Pitt. Okay, some Brad Pitt butt. That's fine. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Jared says that fucking bag. There you go. Troy, you were on HBO. Good to have you here, Troy. Addie, thanks for the call. I want to get to Chris's call here. I appreciate you very much, and thank you for the great question.
Of course.
Addie, our resident professor. Yeah, that's right. How many degrees do you have out there in the audience? Share with us. I want to get to this call from Chris. New name calling into the show, at least to my memory. Chris, you are live on the Blathering. How are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Now I can, Chris. Welcome, buddy.
Hey, sorry. I'm doing well. I second time calling in. I'm the guy who talked to your off about Tom Parada the last time. It's been a while.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry for not remembering your name because if you had changed your username to Election, I might have known.
All good. It's I'm also not a professor like Addie, but I'm a teacher and I work at a boarding school. And so on Thursday nights for a while, I had to work my Thursday night shift. I changed it to Wednesday. So luckily I'm open now for the Blathering. So
please, all of you out there listening and watching should change your life.
Absolutely.
To connect with the schedule here. No, I love that you're calling back, Chris. What's your thought? What's your question tonight?
Well, it's funny because it's like I just got my life's been kind of crazy the last couple months. So speaking of work, my boss resigned 2 weeks before the school year, so I had to take over her job in like 2 weeks time for a job that you would usually have like 3 months training for. So it's been a crazy month. But it's been good. And I saw your picture of the candy corn and it actually made me think of something I had my students writing about this week, which was like kind of what their favorite fall favorite fall kind of traditions or holidays and things like that are. And and one I thought was interesting, and I don't know if I'm just throwing this out here, I guess that surprised me. I guess maybe just think in general, and maybe it's a question for you as well. It's like the last time someone brought something up to you that like made you, I guess, opened your eyes was because again, I work at a boarding school. It's an international population, and I'm gonna mess up the name of it, but I believe it's like the Mid Autumn Festival, and it's one of my students from Asia was telling me about this whole tradition. her family and how they celebrated and everything. And it's one of those really cool times of like learning from people, even just through writing and learning about an experience that I never had. So my question for you, Ken, is when was the last time maybe something like that happened to you, where whether you were having a conversation with someone, maybe it was somebody writing in or calling into the Blathering, that you learned something kind of new?
This is spectacular. I don't have the perfect answer off the cuff, other than learning more about things, living with someone who is a Wiccan, and kind of learning some of the history behind that, and that's that. But I'll tell you just on a simple level. I mentioned I'm going to 2 weddings in August or October. That's right. We're in September, not August. I've had the chance over the years to go to other weddings that are heavily, what I would say, quote, other cultures outside of my Southern California suburban life, right? And this seems simple. It seems like almost a dumb answer to the big picture that you're talking about, because a party's a party and joy is joy. But to go through some of these other, I went to a Russian wedding. Now, I am Ukrainian and Circassian, but come on, I'm a California boy. And it was a friend of mine I used to work with, or worked at the mall that I was at, and it was a Russian wedding with dancers and the way they handled the feasts and the traditions. And then I went to a big Filipino wedding / party with a guy that worked for me a couple years later, and just when things are happening, whether it be a money dance, whether it be chicken adobo being served for it doesn't matter. It just was a tradition. It was a thing. And it was a different take on the same thing, which was togetherness, community, and joy. And it seems simple, but as a kid raised in the suburbs, 70s into 80s, I was just watching the Netflix Mr. McMahon doc, and how they talked about in the 80s, it was just so easy to pit America, and not necessarily just white America, but America versus other countries. That's why the bigger heels were all Japanese wrestlers, Iranian, Russian, and I grew up in that. And so I never vilified anyone else. But I never got invited to a Filipino wedding. And there I was experiencing something brand new. And I loved it. I love that kind of stuff. Cultural exchange is a really cool thing.
Absolutely. I'll say this, because I'm not much of a traveler. I'm actually, I took off tomorrow. I'm going to see, visit my younger sister. She lives right outside of DC in Alexandria. So we're doing a long weekend. If it's not raining, I'm supposed to go see my Philadelphia Phillies play at the Nat Stadium, which I haven't been to before. But one of my favorite things about working at the school I work at, and I'm just being vague. It's not like it's a huge school or anything, but is the fact that we have, I think the number is like over 20 different states in 50 different countries. And
wow, yeah.
And I'm literally the school I'm working at, I live outside of Philly, about like 30 minutes outside. And the school I'm working at, it's like, it's in relatively close to where I grew up. And to me, I find it this like greatest gift that I get to, and I'm not trying to sound like preachy or too much here or anything, but it's like that like, even though I've never really been out. I've been to Mexico once, haven't really been outside the US, but I get to meet these people. I worked with, you brought up yourself being Ukrainian. I've worked with students from Ukraine when the war started and they were over here. I worked with a student from Kabul, Afghanistan, when the Taliban, her family was in danger. And it's just, I don't know, it's like learning about the cultures, but also watching like the perseverance of so many people from around the world. It's really made me, in the last few years. Yeah. Anyway, just, I think it's an awesome thing.
No, that's not preachy at all, Chris. That's something that I think a lot of people either take for granted that they've got to experience, or that we just accept that we don't get to experience. As I've said before, I didn't travel as much as a kid, but I got lucky if we went to Yosemite every year, and rarely left California. And I've defended us in America as saying, "Hey, pretty damn big country. We haven't even been to all of our states. In Europe, you can get on a train 45 minutes. You've gone 3 countries. It's a different feeling." It's a different thing. I always want to defend us for that angle, but for me, it was moving to a big city. Your perceptions, they're not all nefarious. I wasn't raised to be a nationalist or xenophobic or anything like that. But I moved to LA, and it's like, oh, south of the border is not just one thing. I did not know that at 22. I didn't know what it meant to be Guatemalan or what it meant to be from El Salvador, what it meant to be from Mexico City. I didn't know these things. And you're faced with it, and you do the cultural exchange. And I can make fun of myself and not having much of a culture being in the suburbs. But, as Big Lou says right here, he's the exact opposite. Growing up as an Arab kid, the first white wedding I went to, I was like, where is everyone? I was shocked that there weren't 300 people there. So I love it, and I think it's important, especially, I'm not pushing for a one world government. The lizards aren't in control. But I'm just saying, as these boundaries that we've been put up don't exist, really. They exist in terms of countries and laws and lands and all this stuff, but we are all people. We are all one, and it's fun. And I never would take that for granted. So good stuff.
No, thank you. And I'll hop off here in a little bit in case there's someone else who wants to hop on. But I guess I want to leave you with one more kind of, question that I'm
sure.
I got my students on the mind. It's so I have this. So one of my jobs, I'm an English teacher, but I also work as the director of our school's learning center, and so I see kids from the 9th through 12th grade, and I was thinking about this today. This idea, a lot of our teachers are talking about how do we just keep kids coming back with a love of learning, not for the grades. And I have this one student. They come in to the learning center every day, and this has been their new thing. No one asked them to do this year. They write the word of the day on there, and it's a different vocabulary word. And they just want to learn, and they just want to share it. And there's this love of learning there. So my other question for you would be, what was the last thing that made you learned something, or the last subject conversation, but that made you go damn, I want to know more about that. I want to, whether it's something. I know you're a writer. Or, radio. It could be something more recent, but
for me, it's learning. It's learning what I call the real histories of things, and what I mean by that is it's not always drastically changing the narrative of things. But case in point, Abraham Lincoln. All right, this comes up every now and then. One of our greatest presidents. Yeah, absolutely, I can get behind that. But he's become. There's just this lore, this folklore around him, and then you'll hear something, I'll see something. And I'll be like, oh, that's amazing. I need to know more about what the actual story is. And I think a lot of people are afraid. And this is a conversation that my favorite president, my mom's favorite president is Abraham Lincoln. And then I was like, oh, you got to watch this doc, Lincoln's Dilemma on Apple TV, because it's great. It's 4 parts, and it goes into the real history. She watched it, or she didn't watch. She got the book that it's based on and couldn't finish it. And because I think it challenged what her view of Lincoln was.
Sounds like my dad with Reagan, by the way.
With Reagan, Reagan is a great example. Yeah. Oh, I've had many arguments with my mother about, Mom, 40 years on, we know what trickled down and what didn't trickle down. So let's talk about it. But with Lincoln, who I still think is a favorable character in the history of our country, she didn't want to face it. And that's not fair. She's not here to say why exactly, but she just kind of dropped it. She dropped the conversation. Whereas I hear something and go, oh, I want to hear more about that. The amount of times I've read or am watching on Netflix right now, The Real History of the OK Corral and Wyatt Earp, is not to tear down the legacy of Wyatt Earp. It's just to know more, and I get curious about that. And it also will change your perceptions of not just what you grew up with hearing or being told, but what you thought. Because we all don't have a lot of time to dig into this, and so when you get to, so I don't have a specific conversation to go to, especially in terms of a cultural exchange, but I always go to the real histories. I'm fascinated by that stuff.
That's awesome. And I think I think it's great that we are getting that we're unpacking kind of our own American myths in a lot of ways nowadays. Or vampire hunters, that's it.
Oh yeah. Troy and Steve asking about, vampire hunters.
I think my favorite of those is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I actually like that movie.
Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, unpacking the actual histories, I think you're only stronger for it, even if it challenges things. I think you're only stronger for it if you get to that. Well, Chris, I will definitely remember that you called in if you call in a third time, because this was a great call, and I appreciate you calling in, buddy.
I appreciate the time. Thanks, Ken. Have a good night.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening. Great stuff from Chris there. I love talking to educators. I got two questions coming in. Then we got a call from Steve. That's right. It's time for sports. And we're going to get to some Halloween candy as well. Jess says this. What's something you miss the most? Okay. This is on my mind. This is a great question, Jess. I saw this reposted on Threads from a guy named Trey Calloway. He posted on Threads, and someone was like, and I don't have the full list in front of me, but it was like, I miss bookstores. I miss radio stations. I miss going to your friend's house. And it just ran down these things that a Blockbuster, all these things. Around that, it was a list of things that you could write off as nostalgia, as things that are outdated, things we don't do anymore. And there's some truth to that. Times change. We have new ways of doing things. I agree with that. I'm all about moving forward. I'm all about changing and finding your place in change. But what was the sentiment behind this wasn't going to Blockbuster and supporting this nationwide chain of DVD things. It wasn't about radio stations and, Clear Channel buying up all the radio stations. It was about community. It was about togetherness. And I am not going to say, hey, younger generations are going to miss out on that. They'll find their own ways to connect and have community. And if TikTok's one of the ways, TikTok's one of the ways. What's ever next after TikTok will be the ways. But there is something that I do think is lost. There was the same person was talking about radio. Radio's outdated. Addie called in. She doesn't listen to radio. She's not alone. I don't have a career in radio that pays my bills because it doesn't exist in the way it did anymore, and that's okay. But radio was community. Your morning radio team, your afternoon drive guy, your community updates, someone's missing a dog, small town radio, which still does exist, certainly, but it's never going to drive the numbers and it's never going to drive the ad rates to make it a viable career. There's something about that that's gone. And there is something about, as malls are dying, as someone who worked in a mall for 17 years, I didn't always love that everyone hung out at malls. Trust me, Friday nights, there's sometimes I wanted all of you to go home. But there is something that is to be said about coming together in person that I think can be lost. I miss that, Jess. And I don't leave my house a lot, but I miss going to a bookstore. And there's still options. There's still places. There's used bookstores. There's places to go to. There's the Last Bookstore in downtown LA. But I kind of miss sometimes to be like, oh, it's like Thursday at 4 o'clock. I think there's a new Star Wars Insider issue I want to get. I think there's a new baseball magazine I want to get. I might want to go see if there's any books. Yeah, Borders and Barnes & Noble, big corporations. I totally get it. They killed mom and pop. So yeah. But there was just something I liked about going, the silent but yet audible buzz of a bookstore on a Thursday night that I miss, and I think that's gone. Fortnite community. There, Lauren Romo's here. Fortnite. Yeah, we find ways. JMB says up. I thought Jessica. Well, maybe you were having a conversation, but I thought that was a great I thought that was a great question. So there, I pulled it out. We got a call from Steve, like I said. You can call into the show if you'd like by becoming a channel member or a Patreon supporter. And Laserbolt says this. Ken, have you ever watched the show Glow? It's a great, fun, quick watch. I have, has Allison Brie. Betty Gilpin, right? She's amazing. And Mark Maron, my favorite stand-up comic, who is a very grumpy man, but a great stand-up comic and a great actor. Who knew? Who knew that the Lock the Gates guy from Almost Famous would be such a great actor? I love him in the series. I love Glow. I did watch Glow. I was highly anticipating Glow before it came out. It was a little different than what I expected. It's not real. Speaking of real histories, I know the real history of Glow. There's some great docs out there, too, about it. No, I don't know anymore. I won't say I know them still, but I used to be around some of the original Glow ladies. When I would go to the wrestling convention I'd be a part of every year at the Cauliflower Alley Club in Vegas. They're great gals. Persevered, got through a lot. 80s, women's wrestling in the 80s. Tough time. tough time, and they had to take a lot of shit to get to where they were, and I loved it. Yeah, Lazy Bolt, super fun show. There we go. Betty Gilpin wrote a great memoir. I'll have to check it out. She's great. I think she's absolutely great. Yeah, and then one of the big bummers of the streaming era, the show abruptly ended before they got a chance to finish. There you go. Yeah, Mark Maron's lock the gates. Who wants to buy a gate? You just bought a gate. Love that sequence. Got a question from Dylan Barry here. Ken, is there hope for the Miami Dolphins? There is hope. It's early enough in the season. Snoop Huntley, I think, could be a good quarterback. I hope they give him the chance Monday night. Skylar Thompson can barely walk. He can barely run in practice. I think he's our guy. Let's bring in Steve now since we're talking sports, and we're going to be talking candy. Steve, what's up, buddy? How are you doing?
Hey, Ken. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Doing good.
You know what? You know I look forward to your calls every week.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. No, yeah, we got some picks to talk about. We billed last week as the week of redemption, and you delivered, Ken.
Did I deliver? I thought I did bad. Okay.
No, you did. You did 3 and 2. We made money, Ken. We made money. Take it to the bank. So on the season, you are now 5 and 5. So you're dead even. So this week you have an opportunity to pull ahead. But yeah, you're 3 and 2 last week. So good
3 and 2. That's great. You know what? You know what? Big Lou. Start a DraftKings profile for me. All right, let's do it. Let's make some money.
We're making money.
What did I do? Who were the wins last week? I can't even remember.
Yeah, so here's your picks last week. You took an L on the Chargers. They lost to the Steelers.
That's right.
You won on the Packers, you won on the Ravens, and you won on the Lions.
Got it. You hear that, Lauren Romo? I won on the Lions. And I lost on the Dolphins. But
your Dolphins let you down. But again, this week, new chances. But yeah, before we get into the picks, I want to give you this to chew on while we're doing the picks. So your top 5 Halloween candies. So this isn't necessarily just candy in general, but like you reach into the bag, into the pillowcase. You pull this out. What are the top 5?
I'm gonna
a little bit.
While we're talking sports, I'm gonna jot down what I think might be my answers.
Excellent.
I'm multitasking, Steve. All right, hit me with some sports.
All right. Here we go. So week 4, here we go. Our 5 picks for the week. Pick number 1 is New Orleans at Atlanta. Atlanta is a -2.5. So Atlanta's a 2.5 point favorite. So for the folks at home, that means if you pick Atlanta, they have to win by more than 2 points.
I really like what the Falcons are doing. I think Kirk Cousins is praying to the baby Jesus, and he's going to get him through the season. I don't like his wife. She kind of annoyed me on quarterback. But she did look like Haley Williams from Paramore. It's a weird thing going on in my brain, Steve. It's going a lot of places, but I'm going Falcons. I'm going Falcon taking the points.
Falcons taking the points. All right. Game number 2, Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite at home.
Ooh, it's at home. It's at the frozen tundra.
The frozen tundra. The Gio Cubas, the greatest quarterback, emperor of all time, whatever the hell they call him on Reddit. Right. Sam Darnold versus Green Bay. Who is Jordan Love back? I don't know. I'm a bad producer. I didn't know if that was ready or not yet. But.
No, you're doing great work. And the Vikings are 3-0. I know. I'm gonna go Vikings. I'm going the Vikings on the road. It's gonna be. I like the Vikings this year. I like that. I like that Jefferson kid, that whiteout. I like him.
All right, Jefferson's so good. He's so good. Looks like week 4 for Jordan Love is still up in the air. Anyway, all right. So you taking Minnesota on the road at Green Bay, getting 3 points. All right, game number 3, Philadelphia -2. Philadelphia's a 2-point favorite on the road at Tampa Bay. No Devontae Smith, no AJ Brown.
Yeah, the Eagles all the way. I'm sorry, Cody Hall from the Wangers. Eagles all the way. I'm doing this for my buddy Hal Lublin. Eagles all the way. Taking the Eagles.
No, I love it. I'm a big Philly fan, but Ken, I don't feel good about this one. Without AJ Brown, without Devontae Smith, I'm a little bit worried.
Okay.
And
I could be wrong, but this
weird.
But Steve, you know, no guts, no glory when it comes to betting, right? You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, so we're taking Philly on the road at Tampa. All right. Game number 4, Buffalo at Baltimore. Baltimore is a 2.5 point favorite at home against Buffalo.
See, what's tough about this is I need Buffalo to lose. I need Buffalo Bill fans to realize their place in this universe because it ain't as high as they think it is. All right? You got a quarterback that's okay. He's great. He's a cover boy from Madden 2024. But I don't I don't trust Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl, and I need the Bills to lose. So I got to separate that from the truth. But I think the Ravens are still upset. Their 0-2 start got them in their cups a little bit. I'm going Ravens.
This is the game of two quarterbacks. People say that exact same thing about Lamar Jackson as well, even though he's a multiple MVP winner at this point.
Right.
People are like, oh, but he can't get to the Super Bowl. I think it's crazy. I think both of those guys are both totally capable of winning. I mean, what Josh Allen is doing this year with like a ham sandwich at wide receiver, essentially, compared to what he's had in the past, is pretty awesome. So yeah, they look incredible right now. But yeah, I mean, Baltimore at home, we'll see.
Yeah, well, look, I got to see. I want to own this as a Miami Dolphin fan. I hate the Buffalo.
Oh, you're biased. Okay. Yep.
I'm biased. I also don't think that Josh Allen is worthy of Haley Steinfeld. I think she should do better. I think I'm hoping for Haley to reach a better standard. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Poor Josh Allen. All right.
This turned into Sports Talk Radio Fast, and I love it. Let me tell you about Josh Allen dating Haley Steinfeld. All right.
Speaking of your Miami Dolphins, our final game, Monday night, Tennessee at Miami. Miami is actually a favorite. I don't mean that like in a bad way. It's just we don't know. We haven't seen your quarterback play in a long time if Snoop Plumlee is in fact going to start. Miami is a 1-point favorite at home against Tennessee.
We're at home too, right? We're at home. Man, okay. Are we going to have a game? Is this hurricane going to pass over?
South Florida's fine. I heard it was like beautiful in Miami today.
Okay, beautiful. I'm looking right now. Landfall tonight. Hurricane Helene has passed Miami. Okay. God bless everyone else in the path. I'm gonna go. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
We're doing this again.
Snoop Huntley is gonna show up, and it's gonna be one of these stories. In 5 weeks, we're gonna be having the conversation: Tua or Snoop, and you're gonna say that's crazy, Ken. They gave Tua $200 million. Yeah, his head is a bobblehead. All right, Snoop. It starts Monday with the Titans, Dolphins.
All right, here we go. Here's our recap. So for week 4, we're taking the Falcons at home, the Minnesota Vikings on the road, Philly on the road, Baltimore at home, and Miami at home. Those are your picks for week 4. Ken, give me your top 5 Halloween candies.
Crackle, only really available at Halloween. Or in the tiny bags. A bag of plain M&Ms. All right? Quit messing about with all the other flavors. I like mint M&Ms. I like peanut butter M&Ms. Halloween, I want a little tiny bag of plain M&Ms. $100,000. Underrated candy. And you can get them in little bite-sized, little chewy, little nougat morsels. Reese's Cups, I'm a fan. I'm a stan of Reese's in any form, though I do have a video coming out on this channel in which I found the one form of Reese's I did not like, but Reese's Cups, usually solo. And then since it's the theme of the episode, candy corn. Because here's the thing, Steve. If I'm Halloween trick-or-treating, whatever you call it, with some friends of mine, and which might be odd to do as an adult, I once went to Jim Lee's house on a Halloween 2 years ago, and they were given full-size, king-size bars. Jim Lee of D.C. I'll say that if I'm with my friends and 5 friends get candy corn, 3 of them are going to say, ooh, give me your candy corn, I'm going to take it. I'm going to have a bounty of candy. That's my top 5.
That's an amazing top 5. I had to share a lot of those with you there, but yeah, that's a good top 5. Candy corn. So with the candy corn, they want like in a Halloween, do they come in like little mini bags? I just always associate whenever I eat candy corn, I just have it in a giant like bowl or something. You just eat it by like the handful.
You just put your unhealthy, dirty hands in it.
Yeah.
Get your germs all over the candy corn. Probably improves the taste, according to some of my friends, including Roger Craig Smith. I think I'll say I remember you get little packets,
little bags,
little packets.
The underrated though candy corn cousin though the candy pumpkin, because you just get all. No candy. I don't
like it as much. It's too much of a good thing. I like the balance of flavors in candy corn: orange, yellow, white.
Yeah, the candy. Well, the pumpkin gives you that like uniform size, so it's just a little. You take like it's a perfect little 2-bite if you're trying to go small.
Yep.
But yeah. All right. Well, one more thing before I go. I had an anecdote on first R-rated movies.
Yeah.
My first R-rated movie experience. I was going to see my dad was going to take me to see Batman and Robin. But it was something happened. It was either sold out, we couldn't get in, or my dad just really didn't want to go into it. And so we walked into Air Force One, and that was my first R-rated movie. And I remember as a child being very confused why Han Solo was the president and why we were on Air Force One and not the Millennium Falcon. And so my dad had to explain to me on the car ride home that that Harrison Ford is in fact an actor, not Han Solo. So yeah, so that was a great experience. But
I'm with you. Harrison Ford is one of the first people I learned was an actor. I had to have that explained to me about 1983 and 84. I feel you.
Thank you so much, Ken. We will we'll see our picks next week.
You got it, Steve. That's how you do it, everybody. All right. That's a great way to end the show. You guys are coming in with some hot answers on the candy. Reese's Cups, Nutrageous Bar, Peanut M&Ms, Sour Patch Kids, and Snickers. I saw conversations going in the chat, too, as well. Lauren Romo says Twix, Nestle Crunch, M&M's Plain, Snickers, and Peanut Butter Cups. That's the way to do it. And you guys got some great first R-rated movie choices as well. Big Lou says his first in the theater was Die Hard 2. Saw that with my dad. And Freddy vs. Jason for Will McLean was first R-rated movie in the theater. He was 11 years old. I love that. If you're watching later, leave a comment down below as well. I'm going to get out of here. Why? Because I got to get up about 5:30 in the morning and head on the road. So that'll be that. Yeah, on this channel, I got a food review. The last food reviews a couple weeks ago. Can 7-Eleven hydrate me? I asked that question. I answered it. But we've got another one on the way because I found a form of Reese's chocolate that I don't really like. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to pick up my buddy Adam's book, Cowboy Ending, book 1 of the Overdrive series. Pick up the whole series while you're at it. Support an independent author as well. And that includes me. Support on Patreon at patreon.com/catnapsock. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And don't forget you can become a YouTube channel member and call into the show as well. Thanks to everyone hanging out here in chat. A lot of fun. We went to a lot of spots. And I will see you all next time. Bye.